Hey guys, thank you to everybody who has joined the Patreon, the locals, PayPal, buy me a coffee in the last couple of weeks. Uh, it is actually now about 50% of the podcast's revenue. 2 weeks ago it was around 5 or 10%. So this is working more than I had ever hoped it would or thought it could. Um, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say by the end of this, it's February now. By the end of this year, the podcast is fully funded just from Patreon, locals, buy me a coffee. And that's the holy grail is to get funded by all of these decentralized people who give a dollar here and there, as opposed to, these huge points of control, a single, wealthy donor here, a single huge sponsor there. Um, so again, and I'll say it as I have been saying, if you can donate $1, it does make the world of a difference. And I notice it all. There's PayPal, there's Cash App, Patreon, locals. You can buy me a coffee. All of these things work. Dude, if you can give $1 a month, legitimately, that moves the needle so much. And it's ensuring the survival of this show. So thank you guys. And we are recording on Friday, February 6th, 2026 at 10:11 a.m. Eastern Time with Mr. James Delingpole. And yeah, no, you just saying I sound like the American version of you. And we both share a hatred of not just I don't mind doing work. It's not that. It's the general vibe when people are like, "Can I have a list of questions beforehand?" Or they give me a list of questions. I'm like, "Yeah, we're not doing this. This is awful."
Yeah. And I think that these things should be about conversations. They're not Q&As. I think do you know what? I did a podcast yesterday with somebody who didn't get this. I think that Q&A belongs to the world that we have rejected. I was a journalist for 30 years, and you may have come across this hideous organization called the BBC. And the BBC is a sort of communist brainwashing broadcasting service, which thinks very highly of itself. And they used to really specialize in these kind of really nasty interviews, which were designed to put people on the spot, make them uncomfortable, and grill them. And I kind of think, what does that do for anyone? It makes the person being grilled look bad. It enables the interviewer to kind of engage in a kind of torture. And I'm not sure the viewer is any better informed because people don't say interesting things under pressure.
Yeah, no, its nature in itself is aggressive. The viewer is not any better informed, but the reality is the viewer probably wants to see that. They're tuning into that channel to see, watch this conservative get grilled, or vice versa, watch this libtard get grilled. So they're not better informed, but I don't think they want to be. They're either they either don't know that they're not well informed, or they want to be. They just want to see what they believe in, which is again, kind of the reason why I have on people from all walks of life is if I'm if I'm only having like I'm a conservative, I'm a right-leaning guy. If I only have those people on my show, like what do we actually accomplish? Not that this needs to be an accomplishment, but like what is realistically happening? It's the analogy I always use is I'm like, I like the color red, and you're like, I like the color red, and then the viewer's like, I too like the color red, and like, great, but like that whole thing can be one 5 second clip, and then that should supply you for the rest of your life. Do you think the sun is hot? Yeah, it tends to be warm. Agreed. And like that's it. And some people want to do that day in and day out, and I get it. They're not all stupid. Some of the people doing it are like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of money doing it. I'm like, yeah, all right, fair enough, Um, yeah, but even just kind of deeper, regardless of, should somebody be informed or not, I just look at it like a much deeper level. Like, is it even enjoyable? Like, I don't care, like, if we're getting to the core of a political issue or, like, is it enjoyable? Just period. Is it enjoyable? Because if it's not, why would I do it? It's, there's no shortage of people yelling at each other left and right. So I'm not offering, let's just be very business, let's take a very business approach. I'm not offering a unique product. It's you can get that anywhere, and you can get it with much bigger guests, with much better resolution cameras and much more production value, screaming at each other. I'm not breaking new ground that's been done before. I'm certainly not going to outcompete the thousands of other people doing it. So just from a very like a business point of view, I'm like, why would I even do that? So it's one, it's not enjoyable, but two, I don't even see the financial value in it versus what we're doing right now, where you can just kind of wing it.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, and it's actually worse than that. I mean, the the thing I've just described, and we've just been talking about, the kind of interview as a kind of form of it's a bit like bread and circuses, isn't it? It's a bit like watching the gladiators kill each other or be eaten by lions, watching Christians being eaten by lions or whatever. That um it appeals to basest the basest instincts of the populace and kind of makes them more well, maybe more stupid, I don't know, but yeah, it appeals to their baser instincts, and that can't be good. That's got to be debasing for any culture.
Yes, and a view I've kind of developed relatively recently. I mean, I'm 35. The podcast is 6 years old, so there's like two different lives in terms of the podcast. Probably not until the last year or so that I've finally, not finally, I'm just arriving at a point, which itself is probably transient, of whether or not you're appealing to base instincts or trying to educate. Those that will want to learn, they don't need to be given. They're gonna learn. Like you take you take Elon Musk and you put him in 1950 Soviet Russia, he's going to rise to the top. He's either going to be he's going to be the premier or the prime minister or he's going to be an oligarch. Certain people, if you take, Tom Brady and go back in time and make him play basketball, he's going to be the best there is. And more and more I tend to think that those who want to learn are going to be those who take the initiative, not give in to their base instincts, not give in to bias, and they're going to go out and pursue it. Not everyone. Some people do. You know, I would say younger, there is an obligation to try to not just appeal to that. But and I don't know if this is like a pessimistic view, but more and more I'm like, if those that want to learn, they're going to go out and learn. Like they don't you can appeal to their base instincts and they'll be like, yeah, I'm not going to watch this. And that even but that view itself could be flawed, but yeah, that's kind of how I look at it now. I'm like, those that want to find like this show, they'll find it. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's like woo-woo bullshit, but I tend to think it's something like that.
I think it's a good idea not to care about that kind of thing
That
if you
too.
build it to come.
Yeah. I don't know. Another way I kind of come at it is like why I do this is I graduated college in 2013. I got into medical school. I got into pharmacy school, and I realized I didn't want to do it. Um, I was proud that I got in. It was very difficult to get in, but I realized I didn't want to do it. And I was like, well, what could I want to be my own boss? And then right after I graduated, I lost my older brother to suicide, and it completely fucked me up for years. And so I kind of had this like existential crisis at 23. A couple weeks after I had like a personal like I decided I got my acceptance letter to Miami Medical School and I said thank you, but no thank you. So for me, at the very core of this whole journey has been I'm gonna be my own boss and I'm going to enjoy it. And there's gonna be no partial credit because at any time, if I'm doing something that I don't want to do, well then I'll just go be a doctor, which I don't want to do, but I'll get good money and I'll help people. So my logic has always been I can't go 80% of the way. And so even with the podcast, when I say it's like it's not even entertaining, it's not enjoyable. For me, that's a personal thing. If the show gets to a point like right now, the show barely makes any money, but I'm single, I don't have any kids, so it works. But if it got to a point where I was like, all right, if you and I stopped doing these type of shows and all I did was political bantering, maybe I could double the income. Well, what is that objectively? That's me doing something I don't want to do for money. Okay, well, then I'll go be a doctor, make 10 times that. So my logic this whole time has been like, there has to be a value that this has that makes it worth it. And to me, is it enjoyable? And it is. It's far more enjoyable than studying. So that's like my own kind of personal philosophy on it. I don't know about yourself.
Well, I mean, what I'd say to you is that you congratulate yourself for having made the grade and getting into that industry, but you should congratulate yourself more for having got out of it because that's a much tougher thing to do, much tougher
Oh,
decision to make.
oh yeah. No, I'm proud of getting in. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that I decided not to go. I'm like,
No,
how did I grow the balls to do that?
you did the right thing. And look, you say that you could have helped people and got rich at the same time. I mean, I'm not doubting that you could make money out of it, but I'm not sure. Medicine, Rockefeller medicine is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
it's not
that idea might not even be accurate.
yeah, I think so. When you I've just been reading this book about the history of medicine, which I almost find so painful that I almost don't want to talk about it because actually it's you could get very depressed when you see how Rockefeller and Carnegie hijacked medicine at the turn of the century and basically pumped their well in Rockefeller's case their oil money into to buying up the medical colleges, buying up Congress, I mean, how these guys always operate. They buy everyone up and use money and they drive out the good. They drive out competition. I mean, Rockefeller hated competition. And you create this monolith. And I mean, America and the rest of the world are a lot sicker as a result of this. It's an industry. They want you to be ill. They require their market to be not dead, because that's no good, because then they can't sell you medicine. They want you to be ill all the time, just ill enough to keep taking the tablets, but not so ill you die yet.
Yeah, when I look back at it now, I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if I would have helped people. I think I probably would have tried to find a way. Maybe I'm just congratulating myself too much. I think I would have tried to find a way.
You'd have tried, but you'd have been up against a system
Yeah.
designed to fail.
Yeah, I also feel like I always feel like this was my fate. Like I got right when I started the pod, I got banned from like every platform and you got demonetized and everything because I was interviewing all the doctors about COVID. So it's kind of like maybe I was gonna cross that bridge no matter what. It was either gonna be as a doctor or as a podcast. Like it kind of does feel like fatalistic at that point. Like no, you were gonna walk across this bridge.
You were going to try and be a doctor post-COVID when you know that COVID is bollocks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good
Yeah,
luck with that one.
yeah. I mean, but I also don't think it's all for naught. I mean, run the simulation a million times. Yes, some wealthy industrialists at some point are going to hijack medicine. So to me, I almost look at it as like when kids get chicken pox, and so the parents will throw parties so all the kids get it. This was probably going to happen. So let's get it. Let's have it happen, and then now learn how to grow out of it, how to evolve out of it, how to fight out of it. It was always going to happen. A military industrial complex was always going to arise. It doesn't matter what century or millennia or whatever. It was always going to run the simulation a trillion times. There's always going to be an Eisenhower warning about the military industrial complex. So I guess I look at these things like you're always going to get your first heartbreak. You're always going to get your first, detention in school, your first whatever speeding ticket, your first, you get way too drunk and say something stupid and get punched in the face. I think a lot of these things are always going to happen. And so it's less of harping on the fact that it did happen and more of, okay, that sucked. Let's really embrace the feeling of how much that sucked. What do we do going forward to get out of the suck or to prevent the suck?
Right. Yeah. I sort of, oh, I'm just nursing my finger. I broke
You're
my
good.
finger. um, on a horse. Um, and I don't know where you are on Christianity. But you see, for me, because I'm a Christian,
I
my
am. Yeah, I am.
my that's good. My understanding of the world is, I think the scriptures explain an awful lot about the nature of the world. And John tells us that Satan is the God of this world. And I think that is kind of the deal, that by God's permission, Satan,
I just watched a video the other day. Somebody sent me, and I tweeted it. Maybe I don't have no idea. But I just like when I'm like on Tuesday, I think it's like a
oh yeah,
5 minute video, and it's saying this is Satan's world, and the reason why God allows Satan to have this world is the same reason why God allows you to be the sinful human you are. Is the Father is going to let you go make your own mistakes.
it's the essence of free will.
Yeah.
You know how the argument used by atheists, like at school and stuff, you hear them saying, how can I believe in a loving God when he allows children to die of cancer or whatever, war and stuff? But the deal is that if we didn't have free will, we'd be wandering around like NPCs in a video game. We'd have
Well,
no agent.
it's nothing. It's not a it's not a why would God do that? Just but purely from a practical point of view. It's boring.
It
It's
would be a boring game, wouldn't it? God, if you're God and you are omnipotent, you can do whatever you like. And look what he's made. I mean, he's made some really cool stuff. He's made peacock feathers and lilies and parakeets and just whales,
galaxies
just
and
galaxies. And he's responsible for all literature and all music and everything. So he's done all this really cool stuff. You're right. He's not going to go, I'm going to content myself with this kind of low-level video game, a sort of circa 1980s
yeah.
Atari video game with just people going. It's not going to. He's better than that.
No, he wants the crowning achievement.
He does. He
Free will.
does.
It's I mean, yeah, some games like I know some me and my buddy will play like, shooter, whatever, just pick your point, Ghost Recon, Call of Duty, whatever. And like there's different ways to go about it. If you're just hanging out and running and gunning, you kind of want it to be an easy game. You're not, but man, sometimes you go to a match with other players, like the game Escape from Tarkov. If you It takes forever. You got to like grind and get money over weeks and weeks and weeks to buy gear. And if you die and lose the gear in the match, you lose it. So you can spend like 3 weeks trying to get like whatever an M16, and if you get popped, somebody takes it. There goes 3 weeks of your time, and because of that, it's very stressful, and I don't play it a lot. But man, if you want to rush, if you want completely sober, if you want like an adrenaline rush, man, you and your buddy go in. You're checking every corner. There's no redos. There's no restart. You're looking around, and when you survive, and better yet, when you kill someone else and take their gear, dude, it feels like you just shot some crystal meth into your veins. You're like, holy shit, oh my God, oh my, and I feel like that's probably how God is he's like, yeah, I've played the game. Let's see something crazy. Give him free will.
Yeah. So he did that. He did that because he's God.
Yeah.
And I mean, respect to him. It was the right decision because it would be boring otherwise. But the deal we have to accept is that, well, when Satan is the God of this world, he's going to corrupt the worst people. And the worst people are going to take over because they've got Satan on their side. And Satan's got this army of demons and lesser, junior gods, which again, they're not they are capable of helping their followers. I mean, there's a reason why the elites, or whatever you want to call them, the people who run the world, there's a reason why they sacrifice children and stuff. It's because it gives them power. They get rewards for it. It's a bit like playing a video game where you kill kids, you get power points, and that's how it works. And we on the other side, we've got God, we've got faith, and we've got goodness and truth. And those are our weapons. And of course we've got miracles as well. God does occasionally step in. And we've got the knowledge that our side wins in the end. That God is, I mean, I don't know about you, Tommy. For me, it's a no-brainer. I can't understand why anyone would want to join Team Evil. I mean, I get there are perks like sex and drugs and rock and roll and stuff, but Team God is just so much more attractive.
Yeah, no, I think about that a lot. Like, what are like, yeah, on like a rational level, I can understand. Like, oh, you get, $1 zillion. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's fun. I understand that. But
Ish.
the real, but the real dark stuff, I, I can't even, I can't put myself in. And the best I've been able to conclude after God knows how many hours thinking about that is, and that's why you're not one, is because you can't see. It's like, well, one of my buddies is gay. And he's pointing at a guy. I'm like, yeah, it's not like when you and your friend and they're like, she's hot. And I'm like, yeah, not quite my type. Or if I see a girl, I'm like, she's perfect. And my friend's like, yeah, she's kind of attractive. That's, you can kind of understand each other because you're both heterosexual males. But if you have a gay friend, they're like, he's just beautiful. Like, it doesn't even, I'm like, really? I mean, okay. I mean, that's cool. But if I feel nothing. And that's kind of how I look at, I can't even like loosely. I'm like, why are they doing not to conflate like gay people with demons, but like I don't know. The fact that you can't even wrap your mind around it, I think is I don't know, that is free will, the embodiment of like, yeah, I don't know, nothing.
Although to be fair, I mean, if we're talking about what the elites do at these parties, at these kind of eyes wide shut type
Yeah.
parties, I think in most cases it's not because they're hot for having sex with children. I think in most cases they're reluctant participants. They get kind of lured in and trapped, and they can't go back, or they think they can't go back. Um,
You're
Very few actually just say, "Hey, there's an underage child. I want to have sex with it."
yeah. There are some of them, but I think you're right. I think it's probably more of if I do this, I get access to the, whatever, the inner
Yeah,
sanctum of power.
and they do.
I don't know. I always think about, and I don't doubt it. It's probably awesome to be in the intersect. It's probably awesome to be in the global elite and control the world. I don't doubt it. I bet it's a fun game.
Well, you must have been there. I mean, you've been into some time in your life. You've been in the roped off area of a club, or you've
But yeah,
accidentally.
like I was in a fraternity my freshman year. No, and there absolutely is. Like you made it in, and like fuck the outsiders, and that's fun. But even that was more of like that was more similar to med school. Getting into med school was you were proud that you got through pledgeship. Because what you were doing at the fraternity wasn't actually any different. You're just drinking.
Was it? Were you on? What are they called? Phi Beta Kappa? Is that what are the? What's the?
It's all just Greek letters. It was the pi kappa phi. They're all the same. Doesn't matter. They're all the same.
And
It's
what happens? I've never been to one of these.
I mean, I can only speak from my experiences, but I mean, it's like you're a pledge for 3 months, and you're basically a slave. That's what you are. Is you're a slave.
That
They
sounds
use
like
you for yeah. You go and yeah, and but they lure you in with parties, and then pledgeship gets gradually more difficult, and you don't even really realize it until you're at a point where you're almost always going on like 2 hours of sleep. You're acting as their designated drivers. You're doing all their chores. You're cleaning the frat house. Yeah, no, but I think it's good for you, man. It teaches you not to be a pussy. And then like, so your initiating class was like 50 people, and over the course of 3 or 4 months, it falls down to like 10. Everybody quits, and like, yeah, and then there is physical. You might just get smacked or punched or some shit. It's never way over the top. It's ultimately, but it teaches you that you and your buddies are there for each other, and you hang tight, and you go up against all odds, and then yeah, you get into and some school. I mean, this was 2009, so I don't know how much things have changed. But no, there is real benefit, man. I mean, if there's 5 or 10 frat houses with, I don't know, let's say 100 students each, so 1,000 students, not even, let's say half that, 500 students combined for all the fraternities, and then there's 30,000 students, and you have your own instead of a dorm, you have a giant house. We had a pool. You are closer to the bars. All the bars get they all get infiltrated by the fraternities over the decades. So if you want to get a job there, you better be in one of the fraternities. If you want to get in underage, is the bouncer one of your friends? They'll let you in. Are they going to know cops are coming? You get all the perks. You get, and even at some of the stuff is you get answers to tests. You get shit like that. Like it is very much like a cabal, and it's fun as hell. But
So then,
you didn't hurt anyone to get in. I think that's the difference.
but isn't it interesting that your university system
Yeah.
is infiltrated with these the kind of Illuminati training, junior Illuminati training grounds? So you
Yeah.
are being trained to accept the things that you and I probably, and your listeners, both find actually unacceptable because they're manifestations of evil.
I'd disagree. I'd say that a lot of things that they also teach you things that had nothing to do with partying. It was just in general, don't go on campus wearing pajama pants. Make sure you have a collared shirt on. No, they just smack you around, be like, hey, don't if you're gonna be in this, go fucking you can't, shave your beard, put on better shoes, don't look like a slop. There was no benefit to that, but they would just and why was it? Because they would just tell you to fuck off. You look like a fucking homeless person. What are you doing? Put on a nice pair of pants and like some of that stuff really did help. And I really do think it is beneficial to throw it out entirely is I think missing the point. It's because the things they teach you there or that you are taught are absolutely beneficial to the real world. That you got to work hard, that it's not fair, that they're going to do shit that you don't like. But if you hang on, you're going to get through. There was no darkness on the other side. That comes back to free will. You don't get in there and it's like, we're going to rape these girls. Like, what the fuck? Like every guy I know that all my fraternity, they're all married with kids. They're all normal dudes.
Mhm.
I think in general, no, it's not bad. I think it teaches you don't be a bitch, dude. Work harder. And that the world isn't fair, that there are concentrations of things. I got into medical school. 15,000 students applied to the school I got into. 100 people get in. Yeah, I'd say fraternity prepared me for that. It's not fucking fair.
Mm.
Where it goes, eyes wide shut stuff, and then there are things where you could be in a fraternity, you could see stuff, and there were guys that every once in a while you'd hear about stuff that they're, embezzling like money from other pledges. Fuck those people. And then you have the reason to go. And I'm gonna. So what I did is I was only in there for 2 years, and then I transferred schools because I wanted to get into medical school and I wanted to go to a better school beforehand. Yeah, I willingly put all that stuff aside because it was fun, but it was also fun because I was 19 and 20.
Yeah.
It loses its lust, and I would say in general those are very good things to be trained by. I never played really sports, but I think sports are good. I've been lifting weights every day for 25 years. I think lifting weights teaches you a lot. Where it then turns, though, these little Illuminatis, I think that's free will. You can make a sandwich with a knife. You can kill somebody with a knife.
I think it's free will, but it's also often where you were born. I mean,
Sure, sure,
the elites very much value the bloodlines.
sure.
I
I
mean,
would
you
say
look
this
at
though. Here's the difference. Bloodlines did not matter in the fraternity. You could not be like, hey, I pledged up here 20 years. They might give your son a chance, but there was a lot of guys whose dad were, and if the kid was just a pussy, they'd be like, yeah, no, you're not in here, dude. Versus in real nepotism, you are granted admission for being simply a kid. None of that happened in a fraternity. Nobody cared. It was actually very merit based.
well, do you know what? I've been educated today because
And
I
that's
did.
just my experience. I have no
Yeah,
idea. You go to
yeah,
another
no,
place, it might have been pure evil. For all I know, they really were raping kids in another fraternity.
all I knew about fraternities was from based on Animal House.
Yeah.
That's all I knew about them. I knew they've got Greek letters, and that was about it. So it's quite interesting learning about how you get treated as a slave to get
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
It's also, they always say,
You don't get that in English universities, really. You get drinking clubs,
sure.
drinking societies, which are very tough on the liver, but you would.
But I can say this. So, like, I did learn things through that. I don't think it, I think if you don't do one, you can have just as fun of an experience. There are some people that are like, you have to do a fraternity to have fun. No, it's really fun like your first year or two. After that, even in a fraternity, what you eventually do is what you do outside of fraternity. You and a couple people become close friends, and then you guys go do your thing. It's so you don't even need to do it. That's kind of the kicker is like you, whereas in real world, Illuminati, sanctums, there is the roped off area. Not in college. I mean, if you don't have to be in a fraternity to still go to the bar, you can still go to you know what I mean? So I'd say it's different in that sense too, is like you don't actually have to do it. A lot of it is self-congratulatory.
I just since
And by the way, I hope it doesn't come across like I'm defending fraternity. I don't give a shit. The fraternity I was in got kicked off campus like 2 years later, so I don't care.
no, I just thought you were just telling me
Yeah, yeah,
telling me
yeah, no, no. I just every once in a while I'll start getting passionate on a topic, and I always have to make sure to like reiterate, I don't care. I'm not married to it. I don't give a shit. Fuck them.
no, there's a rock festival that I used to love going to. It's I mean, if Woodstock had been good, this is like a good Woodstock. It's called Glastonbury, and it's kind of a thing in England. And there's maybe 150,000 people go in idyllic countryside and fields, and you get all the bands, and it's great. And because I was a music journalist, I always used to get a press ticket. So I always used to be able to go backstage and take the shortcuts and have it just like when other people were drowning in mud, I'd get to drown in the mud, but I'd also get the exit from the mud as well. And it was nice. And it was great having a lanyard or a wristband.
Oh yeah, no, it's a cool feeling.
It is a cool feeling. It's that feeling you get of um, you're in the special club and everyone likes that. I mean, I think it's it's not just that you get access to kind of more drugs and sex. I think what really these people get off on most is just this
Inclusivity.
power. Yeah, being part of the in crowd, the inner circle. That's what they love.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, what are we at? Let's forget humans, just Darwinian biological life.
I don't
It's
believe in Darwin, by the way.
okay, biological life as we know.
Yeah.
It is resource scarcity. That it like in general, all of life on Earth, from eukaryotes to tadpoles to us, it is resource scarcity. So that kind of what I think that is what the wristband is it's an artificial you and the other caveman went out on a hunt and got the mammoth. Whereas when you did that, that actually did determine whether or not you starved or didn't, and whether or not you got the women, versus now it's a form of we get to almost synthesize in the same way that you don't have to work for sex. You can just look at porn. It's a synthesis of that thing it feels good because we're hijacking a base trait or instinct.
I wonder though how much of this is actually true and how much of this is actually the narrative we're fed. So I'll give you an example. Have you come across a book called Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, we had to read that in I think high school or middle
Yeah, isn't that
school.
interesting? You're
It
American,
it's been
written
like
by
20 years.
it was
All I
written
remember
by
is Piggy.
everyone reads this book.
Orgy, porgy, orgy.
Why do they make kids read this book?
I have no
What is the
idea.
message of this book? You remember
No,
this a bunch of kids
plane crash on an island
they
and
crash on
they
an island. And do the kids cooperate? Do they try and survive together and build
no, it
huts?
doesn't it turn into like a crazy like death cult?
Yeah. So every child in schools in Britain and America is being told this is a really important book. You've got to read this. You've got to ask yourself why are kids being fed this
I
lie?
should go back and read it again.
You read it again. I mean, I'm sure it's well written, but the point is, Golding, the author, is selling you a really pessimistic vision of human nature. And what if it's a lie? What if that view of human nature is what they want you to think? They want you to take their cynical view. I'm not sure that it's
I'm
actually
looking it up
true.
right now. Why were we?
I think that they feed you that book to give you a kind of poison view of what humans are like. I think actually what we like to do is hang out, be friends, help one another. We like growing things, we like building things together. We're naturally drawn towards forming these. I hate the word community because that's been tainted. But we like sharing hobbies. We like looking for the things we have in common with people. And we like I don't know, signaling friendship through humor and through bonding experiences. I don't think we are like those kids on the island, and I think that's a myth that the people who run the world, want to plant in our brains.
That yeah, that's our default. I will say so like, the fraternity's fun and everything. Um, but there were two things that kind of stood out that you don't think would. So I'm looking again, and I'm also looking back through, nostalgia. It was fun to drink, it was fun to party, the exclusivity was fun. But we would always do this like charity thing where like once a month or once a week, we would all go play basketball with these Down syndrome kids. And there was no alcohol, there was no women. You're in a fraternity, you're with like the most debaucherous, just degenerate, just idiots. But even when you went there, there was just a level of like no one would even like no one even would even dare make a joke about them. There was just this sort of like, this is where we go and do good things. And then the other thing is, so when you are a brother in the fraternity and then the pledges come, so as a pledge, you eventually get, I think it's a big brother, and that's a current fraternity member that sort of looks after you. None of the other pledges, but they'll look after you. You're still going to get hazed and get the shit kicked out of you, but they can turn to you and if if they're like, hey, dude, I'm really at a breaking point, or like, I really got to go study for this test, they can come to you, and then you can talk to them like, hey, this guy's kind of fucked and like, he needs some help. That was like the other coolest thing. And so I would say that kind of favors what you're saying is no, it wasn't just like beer and pussy. Like two of the coolest things was doing this like charity thing with these Down syndrome kids, and then also acting as like a mentor to some kid who is in the position you were in last year. They're scared. It's the first semester of college. They're, away from mom and dad for the first time. And those were like two of the coolest things. So I think that kind of supports what you're saying is, our natural end state is not this insane yet inner sanctum ringed off area where we all, I don't know, just sacrifice babies.
It's the same. Yeah, that's a lovely story, and it kind of gels with my own experiences. I think of some of the sort of happiest moments of my life, and there was one. There was a kind of I used to live opposite a park in London, and there was this area, laid out for football or whatever, with and for a period there were like people from all walks of life, all different countries and stuff, came when we used to play football with the kids, and it was just like complete. We weren't drunk. We were just kicking a ball around, and I look at the times when I was at university and when I was drinking heavily at these drinking societies or whatever. And I never used to enjoy it because it's like you're not drinking for enjoyment. You're drinking like to
To get
show that
shit
you're,
faced, yeah.
yeah, to show that you're really tough,
Yeah.
or rather to show that you're a player. And I used to dread these evenings. I mean, I would hate not I would have hated not to be invited, but at the same time, going to them was an ordeal.
No, it was, yeah, no, yeah, the most fun you'd ever have at the fraternity would be a random Saturday. Whenever there'd be like these giant parties. Yeah, no, yeah, you'd be mortified if you weren't invited, but it wasn't fun. It's a big display of how much you can drink. You end
Yeah.
up throwing up or you fall asleep at 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, no, I don't I think I don't think it is the natural state of humans. I think which comes back to free will. I think that there is just evil. And I always used to like shit on that idea. Like, oh, there's evil. I always thought all evil could be explained by, well, they don't have enough food and water, so that's why they're attacking people. Or, no, I'm pretty convinced now that some people are just evil. They just they just want to hurt, they want to harm, they get off on it. They're evil.
To your point, one of my big discoveries this year. I mean, I may have suspected it before, but I've been doing some reading about it. I had not realized the extent to which the First and Second World Wars were planned and executed by Anglo-American elites. It wasn't like Hitler, this bad man called Hitler who suddenly appeared and and
And then
bewitched
yeah,
and took them
yeah.
into war because he was so evil and he had a moustache. I mean, this is just all the bullshit that we're fed afterwards. Hitler was created by British and American intelligence, and the Second World War was a continuation of the First World War. And you think, hang on a second, these guys moving around the grand houses of London and DC, old families, loads of money, and they had no qualms about planning and executing wars that cost the lives of hundreds of millions of people. And it was all part of their game plan. It was
Yeah.
all, they wanted it to happen. And when it started kicking off, yeah, we've succeeded. And you think, well, that is not the kind of behavior that I understand or that is representative of the mass of humanity. That is a particular class of people that are basically doing evil and probably have done for generations. It's their thing. It's one big game for them, and we're just pawns. And when you realize that, I think that explains why they ensure that the Lord of the Flies is on the school curriculum. Because they want us thinking it's our fault. They want us thinking, well, wars are going to happen because man is so addicted to war. This is human nature. I don't think it is human nature.
Yeah, it's one thing to look at a war and be like, how could you, do X, Y, and Z? I could understand like if there is a war, it's like well, men are gonna like men are gonna die, like people are gonna die on D-Day. That's like a different that's like a tough that's like a sad reality. It's like we have to do this. But no, the people that plan it, like it didn't have to happen.
No.
That's where I get at. I have empathy for the people who just found themselves in it and they're doing the fucking best. I don't know, I'm commanding 10 guys and I know that they're all not coming home and that's different. There's nobility in that. But when you see it planned and premeditated, when you look at it's happening in like Gaza. And like I don't even want to like fucking go down a whole rabbit hole of free palette because those people are insufferable too. But we'll just use that because or Ukraine or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Iraq, well, a project for a new American century, right? We were talking about this shit like a year before 9/11. When you see them talking about a thing that hasn't happened yet and that they're gonna make happen, it's back to the gay friend. I can't even wrap my head around it. I'm like, how can that and just to feel nothing. At best case, feel nothing. Worst case, they get off on it. Uh, I have no other explanation than like evil is real.
The only way you could think like that, like they do, is if you took the view that the mass of humanity are just like cattle. They're just pawns. They're not like you. Uh, I mean that complete lack of empathy, I think and it's true. I mean that Kissinger used to refer to us as useless eaters.
And you call
Um,
yeah, useless leaders and you call military men dumb animals.
yeah.
Hold on.
I mean it's and you see it in the Epstein emails, you know, goyim,
I also
goyim
I I,
cattle.
I can't even I can't even have empathy for people that view people as cattle because that best case that might be something you think when you're like 5 or 6 and you steal something from a friend or you punch your brother and then your dad's like what the fuck are you doing? But your mom's like how would that feel if that happened to you? And you're like oh and like that's fine because you're dealing with a 6-year-old.
Mm.
If somebody's explanation is like well I just thought they were cattle, I'm like no you didn't. No you didn't. You know exactly what you're doing. It's disdain. It's pure, and you do hit a point though where like there is no other. I'll put it this way. Years ago, and I don't even know if he's still alive anymore. I had on this IDF special soldier, special forces soldier. He was cool as fuck, and we had a good time. And I was asking, this is in like 2020, and I was asking him, I'm like, you must really this is I was like, you must really hate, whatever, Hezbollah, Hamas, or pick your poison. And he was like, no, I kind of feel bad for him. I was like, what? And he was like, well, you have this. He's like, not the higher ups, but he's like the young dude. So you probably have this dude who's never seen running water in his life. He's never read a book, doesn't know how to read. He's never seen a television. He's just beyond poor. And somebody comes up to him with an RPG and goes, if you shoot at that truck and you kill them, we'll give you $100. And if you don't, you're probably going to get killed by them. And you have this poor guy who's like, he's never going to make $100 in his life versus here's this thing. And it's also, and if I die, whatever, at least I'm not in this hell anymore. And he was like, and I feel bad for them. He was like, no, I'm going to kill that guy. I feel bad for them. Like, so I can carve out like part of my mind where I'm like, I think some people probably truly are just fucked, but not at a higher level. Like, there, at a certain point, you can no longer extend putting yourself in their shoes. At a certain point, you have to go, this is pure evil. These people they don't get our patience. They're not allotted our empathy or sympathy. They're just evil. And you're seeing that in all the Epstein files. It's pure evil. It's disdain for anyone in the out group.
Except, I mean, in their defense, um, what I've learned about a lot of these families is that the parents or the grandparents sexually abused them from a very young age,
Sure.
like before the age of 3. And the reason that they do that is that a lot of these bloodline families, well, actually all these bloodline families are into their occult ritual. They see themselves as the kind of guardian of the Luciferian master plan. And part of that involves completely fracturing the personalities of their offspring because they want to create psychopaths to carry on the devil's work through from generation to generation. So these people are genuinely fucked up. I mean, literally fucked up. They've been sexually abused by their parents since before they really had memories.
Sure.
And that's what they will do to their children and on from generation to generation. It, it's another aspect of this kind of elite club membership. It's part of their sort of it's kind of hazing ritual, isn't it? It's they've got this in common and it binds them, it fractures them, it makes them ruthless. So yeah, I mean they do evil things because it's all that they know. And also, the other thing, they, in their warped sort of spiritual worldview, um, when they are doing evil, it's a form of doing it's like doing good for a Christian. It's like it's part of their sacraments that they have to do evil. Because in their view, Lucifer's the good guy. Because Lucifer is the guy who liberates us from the controlling, constraining God who I mean, what did he do to us? He chucked us out of Eden and said you can't do this and you can't do that. And what kind of God is that? No, Lucifer is giving us freedom to be who we are, to live to achieve our full potential. So that's how they think.
I don't doubt that. And yeah, no, sure, I feel for him. You're abused before you're even forming memories. And that sucks. Like if if that's the kid, that sucks. I absolutely, I feel for that. But then there's another point where you have to zoom out and go, that's awful that this person was abused. And you can feel that and you can whatever. You then have to look at, okay, but what happens as this group just keeps perpetuating? How many wars are they starting? How many other kids are they abusing? Does their unborn child, that child's going to get abused before they're three? At a certain point, you can still maintain your humanity and be like, I'm sure a lot of them are damaged, but you then also have to go, but they have to go. Like that sucks. I'm sorry that sucks. They have to go. And if in their warped mind they think evil is good, that sucks, but they have to go.
And they will go, but
Yeah.
it probably isn't going to be us that deals with them. It's probably going to be God.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it's heavy. It's not heavy. It's I don't know. Some of it's just so dark. I really, it's so difficult to even abstractly understand. Like
Well, it is.
just like raping babies. It's so over the top evil. You're like, wait, what? Like what? Like if somebody was like, I do a podcast and whatever, my sister-in-law works for YouTube and she pushes my stuff to the front page. I'd be like, that's dishonest, but I can kind of I see it. I can see where I would want to do that. Raping babies.
Yeah, it is. Would you do? I mean, do people talk to you about the stuff on your podcast generally?
Like what?
Well, about this stuff we're talking about now.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like a 2 hour episode on this yesterday. Yeah. No, I
So
did this shit.
it's a
Yeah.
regular feature.
It's a regular theme here on Tommy's podcast talking about
But it's funny, isn't
satanic
it? Because
cannibals.
some um I don't know what you call us, the awake people or whatever. What term do you use? People who are
I don't know. Awake.
awake, yeah. Um, some people don't want to go there. Um, and I think I can understand, but I think you're kind of missing out the big picture if you don't understand that the world is run by Satanists who hate us and want to kill us. I mean, that is the deal.
Yeah, no, well, you do need to know it because if you don't have that critical piece of information, you're never going to get to the truth on anything.
You're not, you're not. Because it does explain the kind of the motivation. Because a lot of normies can't get past but why would they do this to us?
Yeah, it's because other things you can understand, like, well, why did this war happen? And it's all right. If it's like 5,000 BC, it's like, well, they wanted this and they had that, and you can kind of understand it. But no, if you don't have like that bedrock piece of like, well, there's satanic pedophiles who eat babies,
Yeah,
you're never gonna if you just looked at America and like the one thing no one explained was capitalism, you wouldn't quite understand. You'd be like, "Why are you doing this podcast?" And I'd be like, "Oh, you can do this, but there's a chance you might get paid." And I'm like, "Yes." They're like, "Oh, okay, okay." Now I see the incentive structure. If you don't have that little piece of like, oh, and they also dress up in black clothes and sacrifice toddlers to Moloch. If
yeah.
you don't have that point, your model's never going to work. It's never going to make sense. It's never going to be balanced. Like, I don't get it. Why does this happen? Like, it's because they're doing something more.
And you get stuck on kind of the sort of the financial explanations, which is never adequate. These people have got more money than they'll ever need. It's not they're not.
Financial explanation works for very low tier of like this guy had 10 million, but he wanted 50 so he could get a yacht and another penthouse. You're like, okay, not this, man. Not when you're talking about, no, it's, it's evil.
Yeah, true.
No other explanation. It's pure evil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have you worked out the structure yet of the pyramid structure? The who runs the world?
Satanic pedophiles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean that's it, obviously. And I think at the top of the pyramid is Satan. But I
Yeah, so
think
do I. Yeah.
but so you've Fritz Springmeier wrote this book called, was it Bloodlines of the Illuminati? And he sort of named the 13 alleged
Yeah, all
13.
the yeah, the blood. Yeah.
So you've got Rockefeller,
Yeah.
Collins, Joan Collins is a witch, you know that? Van Dyne, um, uh, Rothschild, etc. But I came across this book the other day. I just downloaded it, uh, which says these aren't even the top families. These are the servant families. So these are the servant families of the layer above, whose names we don't know and we never know. And apparently, the 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 really high level Illuminati, their base is. I bet you'll never guess where their base is.
What do you mean? Where their base is?
There's a town. I mean, I bet you won't even guess what country it's in. Where the sort of the headquarters of the
If I had
evil.
to guess, I would imagine like one of the, like a Luxembourg or a Monaco. I don't
No,
know.
you'd think that.
Vatican.
You'd think that. No,
So it's
go,
really just it's really out there. Okay, if it's
move
really,
east. You've got to go east.
I don't know. It's in southern India.
No, you're moving. You got to move west now. It's Medina
What? Where is that? What country?
in
Is that a
Saudi
country?
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
cradle of civilization. It's
But so the thing is, we're not talking. It's not about Islam. It's not about the conventional religions. It's a sort of power structure which is much more uh, opaque, bleak than that. Anyway, I thought it was interesting because I'd always thought, well, is it the bloodlines or is it the black nobility or is it the whatever?
yeah. I look at it in kind of like it's important, but it's for me, it's also it's not. It's because there's a good chance, right? Because if we know the names, then those can't possibly be the ones because they'd be smart enough to never let their name out. Okay. But then it's also kind of like an infinity mirror where it's like we find them out and it's like, well, they can't be the real ones. It's above them. And we reach a point where we're chasing our own tail. We're never finding them. I kind of look at it like this is the comedian Tim Dillon says. You know, it's like when you break something, you and your cousins or something, you've been just acting up all night. And it's, your mom comes in, who did this? And, well, he did that, and then I did that, and I did that, and then you did, and it's like the fifth time that they had to come in the room. Finally, dad comes in and he goes, I don't care who did it. It stops now. And you all go, okay. So I'm kind of looking at this and like, whether it's Medina, whether it's the Rockefellers, whether it's in fucking Madagascar and their last name is Schmibbly Bop, you're starting world wars. You've been genociding people for millennia. It stops now. I don't care. There's people above us. I don't care. Sucks to suck. Shoot them. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at a point where I'm like, enough isn't no. You don't get to do this anymore.
If you shot them though, they'd just be replaced by more.
And then shoot them too.
I don't
And
know.
which is bad, but I mean, at a certain point, it's like, you know what, man? It's no matter what we do to get rid of them, it will not be as bad as if we let them live.
Yeah, I just think God can
Legally,
fix.
I'm just sorry. Legally, we're not calling for violence. This is an
No,
entertainment
we're not.
program.
But I'm genuinely not because I just think God sorts this one out.
So do I.
Uh, and so our job in the meantime is to do good, you know,
Yeah,
and also do what we're doing now, which is talking about this stuff because
sure.
somebody's going to be watching this and going, oh, I've learned something today. This is
Yeah.
this. I didn't realize the world was like this.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It's no, I think God does. I really do. And and it's a tough thing to swallow, but I do. I want, and it sounds so cliche and cheesy, but it really does help. Sorry to just go out in the evening, even just for 30 seconds and just look up at this, like just look up at the stars. And to me, it always kind of makes all this fizzle down. And it's like God's infinite being. This is this is nothing. This life, you're learning a lesson here. God's gonna smush them out like an ant. Keep going on the right path.
I think you've got to when I'm walking the dog in the morning, and sometimes when they haven't been spraying the clouds too much, and when you actually get you get a sunrise and you can see it, and you look around and think, wow,
It's
this
just
is
spectacular. It's just
this
incredible.
is what it's all about.
Yeah.
It is a shame. And look, don't get me wrong. I would think it would be kind of cool if our God was one of those gods that did sort of Zeus type stuff and zapped our enemies more. And yeah, like we could call on him and he'd just go, yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I mean, he can do that, but his miracles are more subtle generally, and that's yeah. The bad is they're demons and they're dark forces. They do really they do more the kind of old school sort of movie god stuff. But our God, the real God, the one God, he's too cool for that. I mean, he doesn't sort of prostitute himself in that way. He doesn't. He's not so obvious. He's just there. He's in everything.
Um, well, we're coming up on an hour, so we're gonna wrap it up. But I've thought about what you've said. I've thought about that before, is, how come he doesn't smite them?
Yeah.
And what it makes me think of is, it makes me think of, I don't know, when, for instance, Black Hawk Down, Mogadishu, Somalia, 1993. And after it all went south and they killed a bunch of American soldiers, the U.S. sent Admiral Howe down there to go talk to them. And he comes down and he talks to whatever the local warlords. And Somalia is not a near peer competitor. This isn't China. This is the United States versus Somalia. And he goes down there and says, "You're holding a couple of our guys hostage. You're going to give them to us. If you don't give them to us, we're going to go in there with a bunch of soldiers and we're going to get them. If we still can't do it, then we're going to destroy your entire nation, including our own hostages." And when I think about that, a bunch of retarded warlords with like broken guns versus this dude going down there who can call in nuclear weapons from orbit. The calmness does not come from weakness. It comes from understanding the bigger picture. And it's just, how do we want to work through this? No part of it's fear. What are these warlords going to do? They will carpet bomb your country for the next 30 days straight. That's how I tend to look at God. Is not weakness. It's that God is looking at eternity. We're looking at like best case 80 years. That's how I think it is. Is it's not weakness. God is just sitting there with such overwhelming pain. Now it feels like weakness because we're in this little thing. You're like, why are you letting all this stuff happen?
Hmm.
I mean, in the realm of billions of years, trillions of years, quintillions raised to the quintillion, infinity. The universe is a trillion, the life of the universe 100 trillion times over. God's sitting there with an aircraft carrier talking to the other with you on a canoe. He's like, "Hey, let's try to learn something here. You got to fix the canoe. You got to learn to swim. And if anything happens, I'll just incinerate the entire universe. Don't worry about it." That's how I look at it. Is it's not weakness. God's sitting there like, it's not that we aren't afraid of losing to you. It's that you can't even perceive the level in which you've already lost.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Um, dude, let's wrap this up. Where can people find you? Where can they find your Twitter,
Well,
your podcast?
yeah. I think on Twitter I had to change my name. I think I'm at JMC
I'll
Delingpole.
put it in the description.
Okay. And then I got my podcast, which is called The Delling Pod. And it's everywhere where it hasn't been sort of blocked. Which I got fairly limited exposure on YouTube, but
Yeah.
I've got a Substack and it's good. Anyway,
If you could be so kind as to copy and paste those in our Twitter chat,
I'll do that.
if you could do that like right now, and I'll put it right in the description and then
I'll do
upload
that.
it.
I'll go downstairs to my office because, yeah,
All
that's
right,
fine.
dude.
Cool.
Man, I
Tommy,
appreciate it. That was fun.
great.
God wins. All right. Fuck these people. We're gonna win. Dude, I'd love to have you back on again sometime.
I'd love that.
All right,
Thank you
James.
very
All right.
much.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your time. Guys, thank you for Hey guys, thanks for watching. Three quick organizations that I try to help through the podcast. I don't take any money from, and I wouldn't if they offered. First and foremost is ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. That's led by Basil Baz. It's been around since 1993. They physically liberate sex trafficked children. They get about 10 to 12 kids a year. I've got a fundraiser thrown for them before. You can go to the link in the description. You can donate, I think, as little as $1. It's tax deductible. They are truly doing the Lord's work. This isn't an awareness campaign. This isn't wristbands. They physically go in, kick down doors, and liberate children who are raped daily. They're doing the Lord's work. If you can go help them, you can go give $1. You can also take their training programs and do your best to help spot human trafficking in the world around you. It really is if there's anything that this podcast accomplishes on this earth, I think it should be to help them. The second group is Invest, like a vest, a bulletproof vest, led by Mike Letts. 25% of police precincts in the United States cannot afford to give their, and this is true, cannot afford to give their officers cars, weapons, nor vests. They cannot do that. And you can donate as little as $1. They have donated over, I believe, 70,000 bulletproof vests in 30 years. Actually, Invest and ARC were both founded in 1983. Fun fact. And Invest is also doing something that is dovetailing actually with ARC. I put them in touch, BAR, Broken Arrow Ranch, which is to make sure that the kids who are rescued don't fall right back into the traffic system. So ARC, you can go in there and you can help them, and Invest, you can also go in there and help them. And lastly is the Church of the Barbarian Spirit. That's my buddy Clay Martin, Special Forces. It is a group to where Special Forces veterans are helping other Special Forces veterans in unconventional ways, be it fasting, be it psychedelics, be it just face-to-face talking to reduce suicide rates. And as you guys know, suicide is very near and dear to me. So those are three groups that I really think are actively trying to make the world a better place instead of just talking about it. If you guys could just go check them out, go share their links, go do whatever you can. If you can donate, go donate. If not, that's cool too. But, long after I'm dead, and long after you guys are gone, I want the lasting impact of this podcast to be something that's genuinely helped the world. So if you guys can go check those out, that would be insanely appreciated. Thank you so much. Hey guys, a huge sponsor of the show is Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food. Clayton lives down in Georgia. He's been on the show before. It's actually nearby where I went to college. They are a huge sponsor of the show. They give me some money every month, even when I don't sell enough to warrant that paycheck. Meaning that the show is not free. It's just that it's free for you. If you guys need prepper food, or if you're just interested in supporting the show, I'd please ask you to go to the link in the description. Go to Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food, promo code TPC for 10% off. 72 servings per pail, 25-year shelf life. These things are, they double as dumbbells. Pasta Primavera, cheesy potato soup, mac and cheese, loaded baked potato casserole, chili mac, cheddar broccoli soup, cheesy lasagna, teriyaki rice. You can get banana chips. There's also raspberries, strawberries, and apples. There's a bunch of freeze-dried fruit, or you can even get seeds to plant your own garden. It's not a bad thing to have. It's like gold or ammunition. It's a good thing to have. It's a bad thing if you have to use it, but it's good. It's good to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. So that's what I'd say. And if you just want to support the show, please go to the link in the description. Please go support them because they support me. Thank you so much, guys.